Très bien. OK. Alors, donc ça c'est fait. OK, cool. Donc, là, le desktop. OK, excellent. Donc, voilà les verbes au passé composé avec avoir et être. D'accord? Donc, voilà la vidéo pour la préparation, n'est-ce pas? Donc, vous avez vu, vous avez regardé cette vidéo, être ou avoir au passé composé. So, this is a little préparation pour aujourd'hui. Et pour aujourd'hui, savoir conjuguer au passé composé avec être et avoir. Bien sûr, of course, vous avez déjà vu ces objectifs. You already know how to do all this stuff. So that's why there's 5, because you've already seen this before. This is a little bit of a review, but we're just want to get through passé composé so I can move on to the more advanced ton, d'accord? Donc, savoir conjuguer, so to know how to conjugate au passé composé avec être ou avoir. Reconnaître, recognize les 17 verbes qui prennent être au passé composé. D'accord? Reconnaître les 6 verbes qui prennent les deux, être et avoir au passé composé. Et bien sûr, améliorer la compréhension orale avec l'aide des audios. Et bon, numéro 5, on n'aura pas le temps. We're not going to have time for a dictation. Mais bon, on peut faire ça la semaine prochaine, peut-être. Mais bon, une révision. Voilà la maison d'être. Alors, donc, voilà la maison d'être. OK? Alors, il y en a 17, d'accord? Donc, est-ce que Lucia, est-ce que tu peux lire les premiers verbes qui prennent être, s'il te plaît?
Tomber,
Hmm,
rester, naître,
hmm.
venir, descendre, entrer, monter, sortir.
Très bien, oui. Alors, est-ce que tout le monde ça va? Vous avez besoin des significations? Vous connaissez ces verbes déjà?
Oui.
Très
Mhm.
bien. Et Maria-Rosa, s'il te plaît, 9 à 17.
Mhm. Retourner, revenir, partir, passer, arriver, aller, mourir, devenir, rentraîner,
Rentrer.
rentrer,
Pas rentrer, mais rentrer.
rentrer.
Oui, parce que ça va te confondre. It's going to confuse you. So I'm just going to correct just a couple of things. Retourner. Pas retourner, mais pas retourner, parce que if you pronounce pardon, le R, you're going to think it's an ER verb. And everybody else might. Parce qu'on dit revenir, mais retourner. D'accord?
Retourner. Mhm.
Oui,
Retourner.
ER versus IR. Très bien. Passer, parce que si tu dis passer, on va penser que c'est partir, IR. Comme partir, passer, arriver, arriver, aller. I know it's confusing because arriver à l'infinitif et arriver au passé, c'est le même orthographe, c'est the same spelling. Mais bon, et c'est la même, pardon, c'est la même prononciation, mais des orthographes différents. Different spelling, but same prononciation, d'accord? Arriver au passé et arriver juste comme ça à l'infinitif. C'est le même son. Bref, OK, cool. Pardon. Donc, comment savoir quel verbe à utiliser? How do we know which verb to use? Bon, il y a 17 verbes qui se conjuguent avec être au passé composé. Donc, ce qui est le plus facile, c'est de se souvenir des 17 et le reste des verbes prennent avoir. N'est-ce pas? D'accord? So, all the rest of the verbs take avoir, mais sauf 17. So, si on se souvient, if we remember, si on se souvient de ces 17 verbes, ça va aller et on va choisir le bon verbe auxiliaire au passé composé. Alors, prochainement, donc, il y a Dr. et Mrs. Vandertramp, mais je ne sais pas si c'est pour, si vous avez déjà vu ça dans les cours de français, mais pour les anglophones, on utilise Dr. et Mrs. Vandertramp, l'acronyme pour DRMRS, VANDER, TRAMPP, pour se souvenir des 17 verbes. Bon, si ça vous aide, then cool. Alors.
Wandertrap.
Mhm.
Yeah, but the position of the letter is different.
Comment ça?
Wandertrap.
Oui, c'est le nom de famille Van der Tramp ici. V-A-N-D-E-R-T-R-A-M-P-P.
But D-R-M-A. Doctor and Mr. Okay, I missed the first letters. Okay,
Ah, pas de problème.
now it's clear. Okay.
Oui, aucun problème.
Devenir.
If that helps, oui. Oui, Marie-Rose, est-ce que tu peux lire les premiers verbes, s'il te plaît, de ce colonne?
Ok. Devenir, revenir, mourir, retourner, sortir, venir, arriver, naître.
Très bien. Et Lucia, s'il te plaît, les prochains verbes.
Descendre, entrer, rentrer, tomber, rester, aller, monter, partir, passer.
Oui, juste la même chose pour entrer, rentrer, tomber, rester, aller. C'est la même chose. Il n'y a pas de R dans le ER. On ne prononce pas le R. D'accord? Donc, tomber et tomber, je vais juste vous montrer. Tomber et tomber comme ça. Comme par exemple, il a tombé. Non, il est tombé. Il est tombé. C'est la même prononciation. Tomber et tomber. D'accord? So it's just to not say tomber, mais tomber. Alors, cool. Donc, il y a des exceptions, d'accord? Donc, 6 verbes d'exception qui prennent avoir et être. Mais ça dépend du contexte, d'accord? Donc, par exemple, OK, je vais tout d'abord lire les 6. Entrer, sortir, montrer, descendre, passer et retourner, d'accord? So we can enter someone. J'ai entré ma sœur dans la maison, par exemple. J'ai entré. I entered something. Ou j'ai entré la clé. Ça, c'est mieux. It's better. J'ai entré la clé dans la porte, par exemple. On utilise avoir. Because you enter something. You don't enter oneself, but you enter something. So that's why entrer, je suis entré. I entered. My body enters the door, but I entered the key. D'accord? Sortir, je suis sortie par la fenêtre. Bon, je suis sortie de la classe. You know, I exited the class. D'accord? Mais j'ai sorti mon sac de la classe. I took out my bag from the class. J'ai sorti quelque chose, like something in your hand, for example. Ou j'ai sorti mon chien. If your dog is barking too much, you put your dog, take your dog outside of a room, for example. You maybe put him in another room, for example. J'ai sorti mon chien. Bref, so here are 2 examples. J'ai sorti la voiture du garage. D'accord? So I took out the car from the garage. Mais je suis sortie en ville. I went out in the city. D'accord? Donc, on utilise avoir. I have, if that makes sense, for objects or for things that you do with your hands. But we use être for ourselves or someone's person. Elle est sortie en ville, she went out. So even if sometimes it doesn't make sense, sortir, why myself? Because any verb, we're using our bodies to do all verbs, right? Most verbs, I picked up a cup, for example. We're using our body to pick up a cup, but the word pick up is, what is it? J'ai pris, for example, I took a cup, for example. J'ai pris une tasse. If I'm talking about, sorry, I'm talking about something that I should show it. Donc, j'ai pris mon tasse. I took my cup. Yes, I'm using my body to do this action. However, prendre is not one of the 17 verbs. That's kind of that's the thinking. I know it's kind of weird, but after a while, you'll just get used to it. Donc, alors, donc sortir is one of those verbs in the sense that I left or I exited somewhere or I went out. Usually we use sortir just to talk about going out. Je suis sorti. Ah, vous êtes sorti vendredi dernier. Did you guys go out last Friday, for example? Mais j'ai sorti quelque chose de mon appartement, par exemple. D'accord? Alors, monter, il a monté les escaliers, okay? Now, this one is a little bit confusing. Like, monter and descendre can be a bit confusing. Mais il a monté, okay? He went up les escaliers, d'accord? Il a monté les escaliers, mais il est monté par les escaliers. I don't expect you to understand this 100% right now. Sometimes I forget as well. Well, it's a little difference, but il a monté les escaliers. Okay, we can kind of imagine that's with avoir. So we take something in our hands. Okay, j'ai monté les escaliers. Alors, I imagine sometimes when I use that verb in that context is I had the stairs in my hand and I physically went up them. I know that doesn't really make sense, mais il est monté par les escaliers. He physically moved up by way of the stairs. C'est pour ça, that's why I said earlier, je suis sorti par la fenêtre. I exited by way of the window. Anyway, I guess the best way to remember the difference between these two, il a monté les escaliers. J'ai descendu les escaliers, mais je suis descendu par. So my body physically went up or went down by this mechanism. D'accord?
So monter is go up.
Mhm.
Okay.
Oui, monter is
Has
up.
nothing to do with montage. No.
Montage. No, montage, I think it's editing, no? Le
Yes.
montage, editor. Monter, I guess we can think of mountain, up, monter.
Okay.
That's what I would think.
Okay.
Oui. Alors, je suis passé. Oh, and then sometimes, just like in English, parfois, le sens change. Je suis passé chez toi means I went by your house. J'ai passé un examen means I took an exam, par exemple. Anyway, these are just little exceptions. Bon, alors, donc, les conjugaisons. So here's just an example, a reminder of the conjugations. Venir, d'accord? Donc, je suis venu. And we add an E for us, females. Tu es venu. Alors, to make this better, just like I did with prendre, I'm going to add a verb. Je suis venu. Can somebody finish this sentence for me? I
Je
came.
suis venue à Bruxelles.
Oui, je suis venu à Bruxelles. Très
À
bien.
Bruxelles.
À Bruxelles. Ah, because it's a city.
Yeah.
Ah, pardon. Bruxelles. C'est bon? OK, cool. Oui, je suis venu à Bruxelles. Alors, I came to Brussels il y a 2 ans. C'est bon? That way, I can just add a little extra. Donc, je suis venu à Bruxelles il y a 2 ans. Well, I came to Brussels 2 years ago. Bon, you know what? Because normally we would say see, the thing is if we are still in Brussels, si on est toujours à Bruxelles, on peut mettre oui, je suis venu, mais normalement, on utilise je suis arrivé. So I'm just going to leave it à Bruxelles. I came to Brussels.
Okay.
Je suis venu à Bruxelles et tu n'étais pas là, par exemple. Okay. Bon, I'm just going to keep it like that because I don't want to ruin a meaning, ruiner une signification pour vous. Alors, donc, je vais juste ajouter ça à la fin de chaque conjugaison. Comme ça, il y a un contexte pour la phrase. Donc, diaporama, cool. Donc, je suis venu à Bruxelles. Tu es venu à Bruxelles. Il est venu à Bruxelles. Elle est venue à Bruxelles. Et pour une question, bien sûr, on juste ajoute un point d'interrogation. We just add an exclamation mark. We can, for all of these, can all be sentences. Can be questions or sentences. So I'm just going to vary it up by having a question tone, intonation. Elle est venue à Bruxelles, par exemple. On est venu à Bruxelles. Nous nous sommes venus à Bruxelles. We came to Brussels. nous sommes venus à Bruxelles. But as you probably know already, because nous is always so long, especially in the past, for passé composé, on utilise, même right there, on, we use on souvent, d'accord? You're both aware of that, correct? That on can substitute nous?
Mhm.
Okay, cool. Parfois, la plupart du temps, for the most part, I use on just to shorten my sentence period, just to make it as short as possible. So do not fret, do not worry, ne vous inquiétez pas. For nous, a lot of times people substitute nous for on. Donc c'est beaucoup plus facile. On est venu à Bruxelles. Bon, nous nous sommes venus à Bruxelles. Alors, vous êtes venus à Bruxelles. Ils sont venus à Bruxelles. Elles sont venues à Bruxelles. Oh, je suis venu. So as you can hear, you put je suis kind of together as if they're one word. Je suis venu à Bruxelles. Like as if this is one section of the sentence, this is another section, and à Bruxelles is like the third part. If that makes sense. Je suis venu à Bruxelles. Tu es venu à Bruxelles. That way it becomes easier to say and more naturally comes out using this passé composé. Tu es venu à Bruxelles. Il est venu. Alors, as opposed to, au contraire, prendre takes avoir. Alors, Lucia, est-ce que tu peux lire les conjugaisons pour prendre toutes les phrases?
J'ai appris de bus hier.
Mm-hmm. Oui,
Tu as
hier,
appris...
yesterday.
Ah, hier.
Mm-hmm.
Tu as pris le bus hier. Ils ont appris le bus hier. Nous avons pris le bus hier. Vous avez pris le bus hier. Ils ont pris le bus hier.
Oui, donc hier, ça veut dire yesterday, tu as pris. Donc, on voit que pris, je vais le mettre dans une autre couleur. Alors, comme on voit, pris, bon, je vais juste mettre en gras, in bold, c'est le même mot. Donc, c'est beaucoup plus facile. J'ai pris, tu as pris, et c'est juste avoir comme ça, d'accord? Tu as, on a pris le bus hier, nous avons pris, vous avez pris, elles ont pris le bus. D'accord? Donc, pris, c'est la même chose. Pris, juste comme ça. Alors, bon, je vais mettre en majuscule. C'est mieux comme ça. C'est un peu bizarre. Bon, voilà. J'ai pris comme ça. Mais venu, ça change. Il y a quatre choix différents. Donc, c'est venu, venu comme ça, venu et venu comme ça. Oui. Donc, quand on utilise être au passé, on a quatre choix, même si la prononciation est la même chose. Venu, 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 venu. Mais à l'écrit, when you write it, il y a quatre mots différents pour dire venu. D'accord? Ça make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Oui. Mais heureusement, fortunately, il n'y a que 17 verbes. There's only 17 verbs. And also, also les verbes pronominaux, so les verbes pronominaux are on top of the 17 verbes qui ne sont pas pronominaux, because by nature, pronominal verbs are, reflexive verbs. So we definitely take être. So we have the pronominal verbs like, to do something for ourselves, like je me suis préparé quelque chose, je me suis lavé quelque chose, etc. But on top of these, we have these 17 that aren't pronominal verbs. D'accord? Okay, cool. Oui.
Quand un mix groupe est masculine.
Oui, absolument. Oui,
Oui.
oui, oui. Comme par exemple, oui, ils se sont venus à Bruxelles, par exemple. Ils se sont venus, that's a mixed group. That's us three and one guy. One
Yeah.
man ruins it all.
Yeah.
Don't we know? I'm just kidding. Donc oui, donc ILS, c'est soit tout homme, all male, tous hommes, ou toute femme, sauf un homme, just one man. Kind of colors the whole thing and makes it non-feminine.
Mhm.
Defeminized, I guess. Donc oui, donc mixed groups, ils sont venus à Bruxelles. Cool. Alors, ok, donc descendre. Alors, donc, alors, je vais juste changer quelque chose. Pardon. Donc ça, c'était pour décrire, to describe an error earlier, or the other day. Donc moi, je vais mettre ça comme ça. Je suis descendue par les escaliers, d'accord? On va, mince, pardon. Pardon, copier, coller, d'accord? Donc, copier, coller, copier, coller, copier, coller, 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 espace, 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 coller, d'accord. Donc, comme on a vu tout à l'heure, comme nous avons vu, as we saw, but as you heard, I just use on because it's just easier. Comme nous avons vu tout à l'heure, alors, descendre, on va regarder descendre. Est-ce qu'on a vu descendre? Non. Bon, on va regarder monter, because monter et descendre are just opposites, but they're pretty much the same. They're used the same way. Donc, il a monté les escaliers. D'accord? Il a monté les escaliers. I just think of, okay, I have the stairs in my hand and I'm going to do this. Mais je suis montée par les escaliers. D'accord? I know it's a little bit tricky. It's a little bit, huh? Mais il a monté par les escaliers. He went up by way of the stairs. D'accord? Donc, je suis descendue par les escaliers, mais j'ai descendu les escaliers. D'accord? Or j'ai descendu les livres. Bon, in another class, we used avoir for another context, but we'll just use these. Alors, Maria-Rosa, est-ce que tu peux lire toutes ces phrases, s'il te plaît?
Oui. Je suis descendu par l'escalier. Tu es descendu.
Descendu, oui. The SC,
Descendu.
it could just be an S, but they just have an SC.
Yeah, descendu par l'escalier. Il est descendu par l'escalier.
Les escaliers, pardon, les escaliers.
Les escaliers, oui. Elle est descendue par les escaliers. Nous sommes descendus par les escaliers. Vous êtes descendus par l'escalier, les escaliers. Ils sont descendus par les escaliers. Elles sont descendues par les escaliers.
Oui,
Podcast.
escalier. Escalier, oui, très bien,
Escalier.
oui. Par, in English, I'm not sure what it is in everyone else's, because you're Italian or Portuguese, I'm not sure, but English is like by, you know, like ce livre or ce film a été fait par, like this movie was done by, or this book was written by. Par, it's the same word for both, by. So by way of the stairs, by the stairs, that makes sense. Donc par is equals by. So like, for example, something was written by someone, or this was made by someone, like, oh, if this was, ce chemisier fait par Chanel, par exemple, like made by. D'accord? So par is by les escaliers, like by way of, you know, literally made from someone's work, by, or by in a location de quelque chose, if that makes sense. Bref, okay. Anywho, great. Est-ce qu'il y a des questions parmi ces phrases? Any questions here? No? Okay, très bien. Alors, donc avoir. Donc, j'ai changé le contexte. I changed the context. J'ai descendu les livres. So, I brought the books down. For example, à la bibliothèque. Ça, c'était le contexte. OK, quelqu'un travaille dans une bibliothèque et au rez-de-chaussée, on the first ground floor, on the ground floor, c'est là où on échange la carte pour les livres, n'est-ce pas? Les caisses, the registers, les caisses à la bibliothèque, c'est au rez-de-chaussée et on doit monter les escaliers pour retrouver les livres et descendre, d'accord? Donc, je suis descendue par les escaliers ou par l'ascenseur, par exemple. I went down by way of the elevator. Of course, you can say, I took the elevator to go down. Oh, can anybody tell me, how do you say in French, I took the elevator to go down? Elevator to go down.
Bonne question. Je ne sais pas.
Okay, so this one is a bit easier because we don't have to use je suis descendu. It would be j'ai pris l'ascenseur pour descendre. Donc, ça, c'est cool. Mais on peut aussi dire, we can also say, je suis descendu par l'ascenseur. And then I have to accord because I'm a female. Je suis descendu par l'ascenseur. D'accord? Just like in English, you know, I went down in the elevator, or I took the elevator to go down. So heureusement, fortunately, there's another way to say it if you don't want to use je suis descendu. But yeah, just FYI, so you know both ways. And of course, you know, you're going to want to incorporate je suis monté par in other contexts in the future. But here's another way to say the same thing. Je suis descendu par l'ascenseur. In English, we would say I went down via the elevator, or I went down in the elevator. But normally we would say I took the elevator to go down. That's kind of the first sentence we would say in English. That's the go-to. But you can also say the other one. I would say I think it's more French to say je suis descendu par l'ascenseur, but you can also say j'ai pris l'ascenseur pour descendre. Like, oh, how did you get here so fast? Ah, je n'ai pas pris les escaliers. I didn't take the stairs. J'ai pris l'ascenseur pour descendre, for example. D'accord. OK, cool. Donc, alors, j'ai descendu les livres means I brought down. D'accord. From some other étage, from some other, or you can even like descend les livres, meaning like even if you're asking someone to put them from the table on the floor, like just bring down or put them down. Of course, you can say poser, which is another word to pose something. Poser les livres. Poser les livres. Mais bon, you can also say descender or descend les livres. Poser or descendre. When we're talking in the context of les livres. Anyway, I don't want to confuse anyone. Alors, Lucia, est-ce que tu peux lire ces phrases, s'il te plaît?
J'ai descendu le livre, toi descendu le livre, il a descendu le livre, elle a descendu le livre, nous avons descendu le livre, vous avez descendu le livre, ils ont descendu le livre, elles ont descendu le livre.
Oui, juste une chose, ils ont et elles ont. Ils ont, elles ont. Oui, il y a la liaison entre il et elle, just for on. Of course, there's son, but there's an S already in front of son, but ils ont, just to differentiate between ils sont et ils ont. Ils sont, ils ont, ils ont. Alors, yeah, because if you say ils ont, pardon?
Oh, sorry, no, it's more like the Z sound.
Exactly, oui, exactement. Ils ont, il y a un Z entre les deux. Ils ont. Because if you say ils ont, that would be singular. Because then I would think, oh, she's saying something singular. Because you could say, for example, on, it can be another word, for example. Il en a déjà, for example. That means he has some already. The word on, en, it's not only on, like en avion, like in a plane or by way of a plane. On is also another word that means any. I'm not sure. Have you seen that word yet? On? No? Okay,
Just
cool.
ONT?
Mhm.
No.
Not en. Okay. Oh, okay. Well, maybe in the next couple of weeks we can go over that. That would be a good idea. Il en a déjà means he has some already, some of something. Okay, cool. Donc il est 14 heures. Alors, well, do you guys still have time or do you have to leave now?
I have some time, yeah.
Really? Okay. Great, awesome. Also, I just wanted to say that Atelier du Français has asked me to change my calendar completely. So instead of I have 9 classes I think I have like 5 A1s, 3 A2s, and then 1 B1 and 1 A1. Because of attendance, attendance has been so varied. Like they would prefer that I have a steady attendance record of everyone. So they've asked me to create 8 individual classes. So I started with 45 students and now I have about 20, but only about maybe 5 or so people who have come each week for the last 5 weeks. So I pretty much only have about 10 students who I would take for these classes. Because in 5 weeks, if someone's only attended 2, I give them less preference than the people who have come to 3 or more. D'accord? So from now on, each class, I'm going to take 8 classes. So I can only do 8 individual classes plus 2 group conversation classes. D'accord? So anyone who who can't come to all 5 of the next, because there's only 5 weeks left, and there's 1 class per person per week. So whoever can't come to these individual classes, I'm going to put them in a group conversation class. D'accord? So whoever can come to all 5, and this is actually better because each of the individual classes is going to be an hour and a half instead of 1 hour that each of these classes has been. So instead of 5 hours, if someone were to come just once a week, even though I give people the opportunity to come, A2 can come 3 times a week, but most people have only just come once. So if people were to come just once over the next 5 weeks, that would be 5 hours of classes. So now with this new organization of things, the people who are getting individual lessons will have 7.5 hours because 1.5 hours for 5 weeks will be 7.5. So anyhow, so that comes out to be much more. But that's going to be, I'm going to send an email. I told the A1 class right before you, because I give your 2 groups preference, just because a lot of people from Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday didn't really come that much this week. I didn't really have that many students in the beginning of the week, and I can't go on like that. So that's why we're going to do individual classes only, and that is the new thing. I can't say who just yet will be the ones in the individual classes because it all depends. I'm going to give everyone a table of the dates and put the 5 dates for each class. So whoever can come to all 5, for example, 5 to 7:30 on Mondays, or what is it? No, I'm sorry, 5 to 6:30, and then there's 7 to 8:30. Are these times okay for during the week? 5 to 6:30 or 7 to 8:30? Are they too early or too late, in your opinion?
For me, generally are okay, depending when I go to the office. I finish at 5 o'clock and then I cannot start straight away. I need like an hour. So
Great.
if we can choose the day, then I will choose the day
Like an
when
evening class.
yes. When
D'accord.
I go to the office, I can start later.
Okay, Lucia, for you, is 5 to 6:30, is that an okay time, or is 7 to 8:30 better?
Depends on the day.
Exactly. Yeah, okay. But either way, those are okay times, right? Like It's
Yes,
good that
yes.
before 5 is too early, and then after 8:30 is too late, correct? I think, yeah, 5 to 6:30, and then have a 30-minute break between classes. That way I can prepare, and then drink some water and be 100%, and then gives everyone time. That way I don't also cut time from the second class if the first one runs over time. Okay, great. So it'd be 5 to 6:30, and then 7 to 8:30 would be the other group. So there's 8 classes individually total, and then I will have one A2 B1 conversation class.
Mhm.
Class, and then one B2 B1 B2 class. Now this all depends. It depends on availability, but for right now, that's what I have. B2 conversation. But for example, I have way more, sorry, I can't spell conversation. Anyway, I just want to say that I have way more A1 and A2 than B1, B2. So depending on demand from you guys, I will, maybe cancel my B1 class, for example, and just have maybe one B1, B2. I have to combine them. Anyway, I'll see how it goes depending on people's reactions, but I just want to let you know that I'll be sending that email today. Yeah. So I think you both have pretty much attended, except for Maria Rosa, your schedule or your vacation, I think took away a couple of weeks. And Lucia, I think just because I had you in both levels, I had you in a B1 and an A2 for a couple weeks. I think there
Yeah.
was
I was
yeah,
every week, but I changed days.
exactly. Yes,
Yes.
yes. Yeah. So they want oh yeah, Maria Rosa, you did the same thing. One time you were in an A1 class and then an A2 the other week. Yep, for
Yeah,
scheduling.
yeah. Because I at the beginning I understood maybe wrong that we could come any time in the week, not to choose 1 or 2 days per week.
Yeah. Well, the thing is in the beginning, I had 45 people that wanted to take classes. So I
Mhm.
wanted to I wanted to get everybody in. So I made shorter classes so I could have several classes
Mhm.
to accommodate everybody. But by week 3, 45 turned into like 20, and I didn't know that was going to happen. Um, So then it's just people are leaving little by little. And so Atelier du Français said, hey, we have 30 people on the waiting list who want to come. So you have 2 choices, Laura. Either put your students right now only if they can commit to all 5 weeks in individual lessons, see how
Mhm.
many you can group into those, or we're going to give you a whole new group that really wants classes that's going to come every day. So I said, well, hold on, no more students right now. Let me focus on the ones I have so far, and I'll just make sure that everybody can come to each class weekly, because they want to have, everyone wants, they, and you, of course, we all want to see learning, improvement from one section to another. So that means we have to have consistent learning, consistent classes. For me, I would say that all of the A2 and all of the A1 classes are pretty much on the same page. I don't know if you've attended different groups, but we're all pretty much on the same page. But the problem is when I have a class scheduled and I have 0 people. That's the problem, is when there are no people at classes. For example, I had an A1 this Monday. I think nobody came. Nobody came to the A2 on Tuesday. And so
Oh, okay.
instead of having 0, it's better to have 2 or 3 or more. So that's why he said, well, I've got 30 people who want to join in the class. And I said, well, hold on. So that's why I'm checking with you all first, if we can do it, because I can't have any more zeros. Since we only have 5 more classes over
So
5 weeks. Mhm.
are you going to send us an email with the plan of the next week?
Yes, I'm going to send it right after this class. I'm going to formulate the email now that I've gone over it with you and the class right before. I'm going to create a table and just show everybody, and whoever can, and I'm going to put the dates, the 5 specific dates. And whoever can commit to all those, say there's like 3 people who have that one, the first one, it's like a first come first serve thing. The first one who, you know, says I can come to all 5 of these, I will show preference to that one.
Okay.
So yeah, so whoever can come. So of course you two and the 3 or no, it's 4 people who were in my previous class, A1 earlier. You all know that the email's coming, so you might be the first ones to respond. You know, to the email. So it's like a first come first serve. But yeah, but so there will be 8 or 9. I'm gonna offer 9 slots, because honestly, my B1, B2, they're pretty infrequent as well. So I'll just put them together, because I want to accommodate the people who really need it, you know, and B1,
Yeah.
B2 don't need it as much as you all. Lucia, you've been to a B1 class.
Yeah.
Remember that their level is a bit higher. So I would say A1, A2, there's more need, you know, to improve quicker. So
Mhm.
yeah, okay, great. So that's what I'll do. I don't want to take anyone else's time. And I will send, okay, so I'm going to just save, the discussion is saved. There we go. And then we'll just, we'll move forward with le passé composé au passé enfin, les verbes au passé composé la semaine prochaine avec un audio. So for conversation classes, so for those who can't, if any of you can't, if either of you can't commit to all 5 days of a specific day that's available, each conversation class will be kind of like this, but instead it'll be an hour and a half. So say there's like 3 to 5 or 3 to 10 people in a class, most likely not 10, but 3 to 5 people in a class. I'll just have like a sheet, not a whole slide, but a sheet of like 10 words. It depends on what level it is, 10 to 20 words, verbs that we'll go over, vocabulary words, or, you know, partitives like de la. If it's like a lesson on du, de la, you know, to talk about food, for example, it'll be like just like maybe 10 new phrases, and we'll just work on them and create sentences together based on a specific point of grammar and vocabulary. So that's what the conversation classes would be about. And like I said before, there's no more homework. I just want everyone to feel like they've learned something by the end, and to be able to do more with French than they knew how to do before these 10 weeks. So yeah, okay, cool. Donc c'est tout. And I will send the email in just a moment, probably within the next 30 minutes, because I want to do it quickly, but I want to make sure it's written nicely, and not too much. Because I noticed the more I write in emails, people don't really respond to long emails. So I'm just going to make it as short as possible, but that sounds really nice. Donc, I'm going to do that now. Okay. Alors,
Okay.
bon week-end. À la semaine
Bon
prochaine.
week-end. Merci
Ok.
beaucoup.
Je vous en
Bye
prie.
bye.
Bye. Au
Bye.
revoir. Bye.
Bye.